Meeting room rental charges, another hot topic. Are they negotiable? And how does rooms to space ratio kind of play into that? Is it reasonable to use this kind of methodology for room rental charges? Does that impact it?
Barbara,
Barbara?
do you want to start?
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's interesting because we've seen the evolution of so many things, of meeting room rental charges, of being on the scene along with attrition, to then going off the scene, comp meeting rooms, still having attrition, now to back on the scene. Some of the comments in the chat, the phrasing about double dipping, et cetera, often comes up with that. So I think rooms to space ratio certainly considers to be an issue. Also, groups that want a 24-hour hold on space, and maybe it's space that doesn't need to be a 24-hour hold. For example, a breakout space with a standard set. That might be something, again, the ability of the hotel to use it for another function. So I think going through your space, and many groups, of course, admittedly are the space hogs, and really looking at it and justifying it to the hotel. What I would tell you not to do is that don't feel pushed to raise your food and beverage minimum well over what you're comfortable with in order to get free space. That's just not a good thing to do. So I would say have the candid conversation. What I believe you'll find that is if it's not complimentary, you can't negotiate that. You can negotiate a lower set fee, which again can help the group budget, or you could get sponsorship for space. Those are things that you could use. And Kelly, I know, for the hotels, a lot of these function rooms obviously are important to use for other events. And as business hopefully continues to pick up, I know there's more function space in demand.
That's definitely true. For events that aren't space hogs are a problem. My firm is a space hog, so I know this when I book my own contract for my firm events. But it's because a whole bunch of lawyers, they don't want to be in the same room together. But anyway, but for one thing I want to kind of impart to the planner side of the call is that meeting room charges are not profit. I mean, sure, there may be some part of that, but hotels have increased utilities now. Cost of utilities are going up. Cost of maintenance is going up. Cost of cleaning is going up. Our labor goes up. Those sums are offset and many times by the meeting room charges. We have increased cost to replace things like carpet, items in the meeting room because of the cost of raw goods that's going up. And so meeting room charges are frequently used in that regard. And so while folks say, well, I'm spending F&B, great. The F&B is to go to your F&B minimum, which is for your entire event. The meeting room cost is the expense of that particular space and the cost that we're having to invest in that space. So that's not always a favorite response for meeting planners, but I wanted to impart that knowledge. So.
Well, and I think that's a valuable perspective, obviously, Kelly, and I think for the planners listening, you can use some of those nuggets in your next negotiation to understand that or talk the other party's language. I'll just say, watching out for space reassignment. Even if you say, oh, the space is complimentary, but we can reassign it without your consent, that becomes a problem too. So just being mindful of how certain provisions in the contract might tie together. And that, of course, also would include concessions. Sometimes, again, as comp space versus a fee, everything ties together in some way. So just thinking that through on your next negotiation, careful review of that contract section.
And to answer one of the questions here, for those groups who quote their F&B low, knowing that they're going to go way over them, that does impact your ability to negotiate some of these other clauses. While you may be able to show a history that you're going to go way over, the only thing you've committed to the hotel is the F&B minimum. And so you've perhaps given up some of your leverage ability because you're not quoting an F&B minimum that's more commensurate with what your spend is going to be. And that might give you more leverage in the negotiations. But I understand the tension there. What if your event ends up smaller? So that's the rub.
I love the passion.